All right, this drill works. This is how I basically broke through and started playing some really great golf and went from shooting in the 90s and the 100s when I was first starting to play a ton to getting down in the 70s even in a consistent basis. This is almost exactly what I did. I'm going to lead you through all the feels that I had and how I set up the drills to do that so that you can repeat the exact same thing and get amazing results too. So what I want you to do is go on a driving range, and we're going to imagine what I actually did is I went in my backyard, and my parents had a mower that was probably about as wide as this mat. It was about a 4 or 5 foot wide mower. Doesn't matter the exact width. But what I did is I took one strip of that and I mowed a perfectly straight line. We grew up on a farm, so I just kind of scalped it down. I'm sure they didn't like that. But I just mowed it down to where the grass was super low, almost like dirt even. And it had a stripe that went about 60 or 70 yards. We can do the same thing on the driving range. So imagine that this center line here is that stripe, and I want all my shots to be within that one little track. And you say, well, Clay, if I could hit it within that track, why in the heck would I need you? I wouldn't even be here on this video. I'd be on the PGA Tour. Well, that is true, but what I want you to do is start on what I call a ladder drill. So everybody can imagine, if you imagine this track going out in the distance, everybody can hit one dead straight from here to there. I don't know anybody that's been playing golf more than a couple weeks that can't hit one some distance, 5 feet, 10 feet, 30 yards, whatever it is for where you're at right now, to get it to land in that track. What I want you to do from there is as soon as you hit one in the track, we're immediately going to go a little bit farther and a little bit farther. Now, a big key for this, and what I learned as I did this drill, a lot of it is about weight shift, and a lot of it is about getting through the shot, feeling like you extend your arms, almost like the ball is stuck on the face, and you extend your arms like your arms are going down that same little stripe or that same little track. What I don't want to do is stop my body and have my hands do this and fold up like the chicken wing. That comes from me locking my hips and locking my shoulders. What I want to do is I want to keep everything rotating, and that way I can extend everything on out. If we don't get that piece right, this is going to be pretty daggone tough. So I'm going to try here. I'll go ahead and hit a little, takes about a 30-yard shot for this machine to register the way I have it set up right now. I'm going to try to get it right on that line. There we go, just a hair left. And what I actually do if I go to the range now and do this drill is I'll pick something in the distance that is about that width, really skinny, and I can see if my ball lands left of that little tree branch or twig or whatever it is in the distance, a blade of grass, a flag stick, whatever you want to pick, then I know I'm within tolerance. If it's outside of that, I know I'm outside of the tolerance. So I'm going to try to get a little bit closer, 46 yards carry, and I would just stay here at around that 46 yards carry until I can get the feel of hitting it right on that line. Maybe a little straighter on that one. So just overdrawing them a little bit, and that's completely normal. A lot of times you can just do a simple adjustment of your stance, and all of a sudden you start hitting them a little straighter. There we go, that's going to be right on it. So now, doesn't matter the exact yardage. If that was 20 yards, 40, 60, whatever it is, as soon as I hit that line, I'm going to go a little farther. If I miss 3 or 4 or 5 in a row, I start to shorten it back up. If I make 2 in a row, then I start to lengthen it back. So don't get caught up in the numbers. Everybody wants to ask, do I move on after 1 good one or 2 good ones or whatever? Doesn't matter. What it really is saying is if it gets hard to be straight, make it shorter. If you can hit it straight enough, then make it a little bit longer, and you gradually just chip away at it. So I'll actually go back to even a little shorter one here. Now the second thing that I realized is if I get the club here, impossible to hit it straight. I have to get the club here. What I mean by this is when your club comes down to the last parallel in the downswing, that it needs to be inside the target line. So if you imagine if this is toward my target, straight ahead toward the target, my club has to be inside of that. So if this is my target line, last time the club is parallel to the ground, this is pointing dead toward the target, I need that club shaft inside of that. And all great players are going to do that. If I don't get this club inside, I'm never going to be able to make it to go straight. The reason for that is when I get the club inside, I'm going to exaggerate. I could just grab this club with 2 fingers and rotate through. The club automatically gets slung out with momentum and hits the golf ball square. if I get the club out here at all and I rotate through, the club doesn't get slung out, it actually goes back in. The momentum of the club is working the wrong way. So I have to get the club a little bit inside if I want to be consistent. So I'm going to try it again. Nice little short, easy swing. Really extend, get the club from the inside. There you go, another good one. Right on the money there. So just a little bit shorter distance. And I felt like from there, all I focused on was having the club come from in here. And then as I rotated open, it almost felt like to me it slung out to the right. You can also focus on feeling like the club extends. If you get too far over the top, it's going to go here with your hands. Your hands start to go to the left. I can feel like my club goes from the inside, and then my hands, when they extend out like I talked about, they go a little bit more out to the right, and that really helps. Now as we start to get a little bit farther and farther, here's the last piece that really glued it all together for me in this ladder drill. When I finished my swing, it was always longer than my backswing. So if I took my hands back to say 9 o'clock, or if this was a clock, 12, 3, 6, 9, this wheel, if I took my hands back to 9 o'clock, they would always swing past 3 o'clock in the finish. And I did this drill to where I actually ingrained every single swing. I didn't care if I took it back to here, here, or here. I would always swing through and split my ears with this club shaft. So as I came through to my finish, I would finish perfectly balanced with that club splitting my ears. Now, I'm going to admit, it looks a little bit goofy. It looks like you're posing for the shot. But what it forces you to do is to learn how to have balance through this golf shot. So if I can bring it back to, say, somewhere around 9 o'clock and finish in that same position every single time, I know my balance is pretty daggone good. And if I can hold it there, then I know that my weight shift and my tempo and all that was pretty daggone solid too. So the key to that for me was once I got to here, I felt like I did a little weight shift, then I swung through. I don't want to swing and then have my weight shift through. I put a little pressure in my left leg, then I make my downswing. So it's almost like I'm doing a little step, then swinging down. So I step, press my foot in the ground, then I swing all the way down. That's exactly what I felt like every single time. And as long as I got my body rotating through the shot, and I finished with that club between my ears, I knew it was going to be pretty daggone straight. And if my balance was good when I'm doing that too, I knew I was going to hit it really, really well. So I tried to, in my finish, feel like when I ended up here, I didn't have to move and adjust. I felt like when I swung to my finish, I had it between my ears and it was perfectly still until that ball landed and hit the ground. Now, there is one more thing that I figured out years later that made this a whole heck of a lot better, which is the right way to square up the club. Most players have never been taught the way that the pros square up the club. And it actually took me many years after that until I really started to become what I would consider to be, a great ball striker, that I figured out how to use my hands and arms, my wrist, like the pros are doing it. I had been taught to roll the club over to square it up, and that simply just doesn't work if you want to hit it as solid as possible. It's what I call the anti-roll method, and I'm going to play a preview of a video that's going to show you exactly what that is. All you need to do to see the full video, the entire anti-roll method video, is go ahead and click one of the cards that pops up on your screen, or down below in the description, click the link there, and you'll get instant access to that video. I can't wait to share with you the anti-roll method. If you pair it up with what we just did here today, you're going to be playing some fantastic golf. You won't even have to try to go out there and break 90. It's going to happen easily. Best of luck. Let's go ahead and get started with the anti-roll method. Here's the bottom line. If you've been taught to roll the club in the early downswing, that causes the shaft to get steep. And that steep club causes all your problems. It causes you to hit it way behind the big hitters and way inconsistent with your quality of strikes. So you're in the tall grass and the trees and the hazards all day long. Now the great news is this. There's really only two pieces that you need to know to fix all these problems. The first one is we need to learn the proper way to square up the club face. Instead of rolling the forearms and getting steep, there's another way that the pros do this. Once you learn this right way to square up the club face, then you can shallow out from the inside and everything starts to fit together. Now I'm going to teach you this right now in what I call the anti-roll method. You may also hear this called the motorcycle move or the tour twist, but let's walk through exactly how to do that. Now what I want you to do is go ahead and go kind of in the last parallel in the downswing. So here, I want my hips to go ahead and be opening up. I want my club to be parallel with the ground, and I want my hands to be in front of my right thigh. Now, when I take my grip, you're going to notice that when I do this, the club face is basically straight up and down. So if I'm looking at it from this angle, you'll see the face is straight up and down, and my logo of my glove is pointed out in front of me. Now from there,